Okay, I think we've got everyone in. Yeah, can we all mute just for a second? Awesome. Right. Okay. So, hi everybody. For those of you who are joining us, hopefully we've got a fair few students in here, and those people who are joining us who are breaking into the industry and so on. So we will be doing a Q&A session towards the end of this. We'll try and allocate around about 10-15 minutes or so to questions. So please put them into the Q&A panel section of this floor interface, and we'll get through as many as we can within the time that we've got. We may run over a little bit. We don't know yet. We'll see how things go on. So this session is basically about how do students and fresh talents, newly graduates, or people who are actually trying to break into the industry, how do you prepare for the production world of visual effects? So for those studying, for those who are thinking about getting into it, be it you're self-taught or you're in education already, and for those of you who have just joined studios and are looking to level up and progress. So this is a discussion about how one can advance, how you can try and push for better salaries, improve yourself, level up in your career, and also to try and advance your skill set, and also advance those those people around you, and your get a bit more money out of it as well. So in the bios we have 5 individuals, not including myself, sorry, who are veterans within the industry and also in education. So in no particular order, I'm just kind of going in the list here, not necessarily the list in the roundhouse here. So we have Jay Mehra, who's the creative head of VFX at Anybrain. In his 13 years of industry experience, Jay has worked on Academy Award-winning projects such as Life of Pi, The Golden Compass, while being nominated for the HPA Awards for Outstanding Visual Effects television category. He won the 14th VS Awards for Outstanding Support in Visual Effects in Photoreal episode for Agent Carter in Season 1. He's currently the creative head of visual effects at Anybrain. Before starting there, he worked as an on-set visual effects supervisor at Fengshen Trilogy for Myth VFX in China, teaming with Douglas Smith, Academy Award-winning visual effects supervisor and industry veteran. He went back to China after his short term as the creative director of visual effects at Legend, where he got the opportunity to supervise Leia for Netflix India. Next week.
Hey guys.
Sorry. Oh, right. Okay. Sorry. Next we have Ronak, who's a visual effects supervisor at Red Chilies. With a career spanning over 17 years, Ronak is one of the few artists who have been in the formative years of Red Chilies progression. He started his career in 2002 with Eagle 3D as a visual effects artist, and then climbed up the ranks effectively and steadily, joining Red Chilies as project lead in 2004, and was one of the key people to help grow this company. His attention to detail, his systematic way of working, leadership qualities, and strategic ability, along with his youthful energy, as it says here, helps ensure smooth project deliveries. He has been instrumental in contributing to movies such as Om Shanti Om, Chat the India, Rawan, Krish 3, Fan, Raise, Itfaq, Zero, along with 2020's acclaimed releases such as Angrezi Medium, Shikara, Shub Manga. You're getting me all these words I need trying to pronounce, mate. Am I doing okay? Wow. Okay. I'm really bad at this. Even after living here for 10 years, I still struggle. Shub Mangal, Zayada Savdan. Oh, you're going to have to say it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's Shubhamanga Zada Sauda.
That's the one. What he said. Okay, that was a tough escape. A tough escape. I was there at the finishing line and I stumbled on the last hurdle. Oh dear. Okay. Next we have Ranji Goswami. He's a visual effects expert with 17 years of core competencies as a master trainer, professor, creative supervisor and producer. He served at Pixion, Prana, Tata VCL, Prasadi FX, and Animagic during his initial experience. He was a creative supervisor for 10 years in Prime Focus World, Generate, and Reliance MediaWorks. Later, he managed the Pan-India training as a master trainer in Generate and Prime Focus. At present, he's a master trainer at Prime Focus Academy and professor at ITM Institute of Design. He has designed specialized VFX courses and a Bachelor of Design degree in visual effects and animation. Next, we have Dr. Rishi, who's the Dean and Program... Hey. We have Dr. Rishi, who's the Dean and Program Director of MCS, PA in Demir VFX College. They're based over in Pune, in Maharashtra. He is the founder of India's leading online animation and visual effects school, Cineversity, where he is reimagining the AVCG teaching and learning space of India. He has been honored on several national and international platforms for his dynamic thoughts and education and leadership, and he was on the advisory board of Chandigarh University Evangelist as Asifa India, and a proposed member of the high-level committee of Government of Telangana for deciding AVCG short and long-term coursework, curriculum design, etc. for graduation, postgrad, and diploma programs. Last but no means least is Mohit Soni, who's the CEO of MESC, Media Entertainment Skills Council. A highly driven entrepreneur, self-starter with more than 18 years of experience of heading online marketing, media planning and buying, brand communication strategy, research for product designing and competitor mapping in education and media industry. Proficient in developing new business alliance, channel network, unique business models, and setting up partnerships with international and Indian academic institutions and universities. He possesses expertise in working with multinational environments, with the distinction of understanding and exploring new markets for business growth and setting up and streamlining operations. He has a proven ability in managing P&L for business divisions and assisting in setting up and promoting the services from scratch. He's also skilled in overcoming business challenges and making high-stake decisions using experience-based judgment, strong work ethic, and unapproachable integrity. An exceptional communicator, unlike me, I'm stuttering, and negotiator with demonstrated skills in making tactical plans and strategic plans of business, as well as developing large diversified teams. So that's the panel. Myself, I'm Pete Draper. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Makuta Visual Effects. We're a VFX studio based out of Hyderabad, worked on films such as Bahubali, the Bahubali series, we're doing Triple R at the moment, Eager, worked with a few of these guys here in this panel also on some of their features, and also to my claim Magadira and also Enderan also. So been in the game for about 25 years, so the lines and the hair loss also show for it. So for those of you who are looking to get in the industry, we have three guys here with a full head of hair and three guys here with partial head of hair. So pays your money, takes your choice, kids. Okay, so round table will do. So starting from Ronak, then going to Ranjit, Jay, Mohit, and then Rishi. So we'll go each one in turn, and then we'll take the next one in turn for the next question, and we'll start working our way through. So question number one to contestant number one, Ronak. How do you start? What do you learn? Should you get into education or look to self-develop? Does the passion of the artist drive their development or their choices for that matter?
Yeah, hey everyone. So, should you start? So first of all, if there are two ways to go, primary ways to go about it. If you join an institute or institution, or you want to self-develop, self-learn. Okay, so the way I had gone back when I started was to go ahead with an institution, though, but put in and invest a lot of time in self-learning as well. But let's talk in today's day, where you have so much of information available online, and there are a lot of resources which which are available to you, and you can go through it. It's a choice that you should make, but I would still see it as that initially it's better you train under a certain guidance. So basically you should join an institution so that you learn the basics well. You also go through a lot of drilling and exercises in a collective environment along with other colleagues, which gives you a proper exposure, and it develops a certain skill set within your head, so that you you can take your first step in a nicer way. Basically, the primary footstep is very important. How you start off in the industry. So just a steps learning thing would not be advisable in a very initial stage. But I mean, in that's a different case. If you are extremely passionate and you want to learn all the things in 6 months, start off.
Yeah.
That's a different approach. But generally speaking, you need to know a lot of things in a particular. If you're talking about the VFX industry, there are a lot of departments, so many streams. So everything getting in through online is going to be difficult. So the institutions or the colleges, they have designed their curriculum in a way that you are exposed to all individual departments which are operational to get the integrated output in VFX. Getting your VFX first VFX shot or a film. So all the departments that play their role, they are pretty nicely explained, and you take enough time over there, along with a lot of discussions with your respective faculties. And I am also putting in stress that your colleagues, the team that you are working along with or studying along with, because with their inputs, with the discussions and all those things, it really helps a lot for understanding of the industry. As all of us know, whoever is interested in VFX, there are so many components that you just cannot sit on YouTube and after 5 days you are out to and prepared for the industry. So that is just going to be very difficult. And once you in that approach, if you join into a studio, and it becomes very running around like a headless chicken, as you don't know what's happening in the other department or what's happening on the next desk, makes things difficult for progress. So I think a systematic approach is always advisable. That's my take on it.
Okay. Ranjit, same question to you.
Okay, so the question was how to prepare. Yes, can you just repeat the question?
You're a little bit breaking up again. Can you start again, please?
Yeah, can you just repeat the question again?
Or it's still breaking up, mate.
Hello?
Let's try one more time.
Can you hear me?
Got it. Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you repeat the question?
So how does one start? Where do you learn? Do you get into education, or do you actually try and self-develop? Are there benefits and drawbacks of doing one over the other? Over to you.
Okay. So basically, in my understanding, first of all, the student's interest is very important in terms of whether they really want to get into this industry.
Yeah.
There are millions of options for the students to get into any sort of skill that they want to pursue their career, because the mantra is do what you love and love what you do. So first of all, they need to figure out whether they are really compatible with the kind of skill that that is there in the VFX industry. So starting with basics, I would say they should explore some of the freeware softwares or maybe some simpler softwares in graphic designing. First of all, they can learn like self-learning, or maybe starting with some short-term courses online. Maybe there are multiple options like LinkedIn, Udemy, and these options are really open. So take some small courses, understand the kind of graphics that you can prepare in Photoshop kind of software, some basic graphic designing. If they feel like okay, they are really good into it, they feel like okay, they are taking interest into it, then try to find out different variety of with different verticals of the industry. In visual effects itself, they can go to the end scroll of any movie and find out what kind of departments are really there. They have to find out which kind of skills are there in the industry. First of all, they pick up the headers of each department. Let's say 2D animation, 3D animation, VFX. In VFX, there are multiple streams again. So they need to find out what exactly they want to do, and then try to find out the specialized courses which are available in the market.
So you're suggesting doing like the research offline first, finding out the sort of the things that they're interested in, and then possibly if they hit a wall there, then look to further education, be it through one of these bachelor degrees, or whether or not it's a vocational course or some form like that to expand on the knowledge that they can't source.
Because the students are really fascinated about this whole entire visual effects and gaming and these styles. But when you play a game, it's a different experience. You're enjoying as a you're entertaining yourself. When you're watching a movie, you're entertaining yourself. But when it comes to creation, it's a different ball game
Yeah,
altogether.
true.
So even when they are learning, they should feel like they're playing game. So they should enjoy the process of learning as well.
Yeah,
And then only they can find out the right interest.
that's
Yeah.
a good analogy. That's a very good analogy. Jay, to you.
Yes, can you guys hear me?
Gotcha, mate.
Yeah. So I kind of agree with both the panelists, like with Ronak and Ranjit, what they just kind of mentioned. It's I think the first step is now with so much of data which is available online is to understand what goes into visual effects or animation, a feature animated movie, or even in the gaming industry. So the verticals are there. Like you cannot expect as a person, you cannot expect a single person to deliver one shot completely because it takes months and years where a team
We
is
used to,
working.
this is the thing, you say that, we used to have to do that.
We
Like
used to
around
have to
about
do
like
that.
97, 98, yeah, before the
Yeah.
industry got fragmented, that's what we used to have to do.
So yeah, but right now the
Now, yeah,
trends
different.
trends are such
Yeah.
in companies where you have specialized verticals, and to understand these verticals before diving into a course or some kind of a bachelor degree, because once you dive in without having any kind of a knowledge, what will happen is you're spending money, you're spending time. So you need to have a decent. I'm not saying that you need to master everything before going into a course. Why do go into a course if you're mastering by yourself? But the idea is to have a good understanding of what you are getting into.
Okay.
Do a lot of research, which course suits you the best, your expertise, and as Ranjit said, passion is one thing which drives all of us. This industry works on passion. I mean, if you don't have the passion, I think you're not fit for this industry. Sorry to say that in a very, very blunt way, but that is the bottom line.
That's correct. That's correct.
Yeah. So all of us who have been here, we have worked our way, and the reason why we have sustained and we have grown up the chain is because of the passion and the way we want to push. So I would say that rather than going into what courses to take, what courses not to take, it's best to kind of do a little bit of research. I would advise not to completely rely on self-learning through YouTube videos and everything, because what really happens is everyone is posting on YouTube. They are posting their own techniques and they are posting their own, procedures of how they're doing certain things. Sometimes they might be, most of the time they are right, but sometimes they might be misguiding you. So you really don't know if you're learning it by yourself is what is the best approach. So I would say,
so if you participate in something like on like an online forum or something like that, or an online discussion, just something like this, for example.
right.
So taking information like in real time almost from your peers, that would assist better.
That would
like
assist better.
Group learning,
yeah.
in essence.
Group learning. I mean, now there are on LinkedIn, there are these forums, like you have LinkedIn, you have Reddit, you have Discord channels where you can join in as a aspiring or a budding VFX artist, where you can get all this information from people who have been in the industry. So there are a lot more, there's a lot more medium, or the mediums have kind of diverse in a way where you can get a lot more information, where when I talk about 15 or 18 years back, when internet was not as powerful, the data was not as powerful, that's when we want to go in, look at the documentation. We had to go through a lot of documentation, understand each and every steps, or kind of join a particular course. Because I mean, honestly, the course itself will give you a guidance to kickstart in the industry, but I would say, in a realistic approach, do not expect that at the end of the course you will be making a shot which will be on par with any of the Hollywood or any of the movies, because it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of practice, and even with course, I remember my time when I used to be at Mac, and I remember my time that after a 4-hour session, I had to sit in for at least 12 hours to kind of practice that same thing.
Yeah, try and ingest everything you've learned.
Ingest everything, because there's so much to learn over there.
Yeah.
So I guess it's going to be a mix of both self-learning as well as taking educated decisions, I would say.
Okay. So I'm going to mix this up a little bit for Mohit and for Dr. Rishi. I think my audio's gone a little bit crazy.
No, we can hear you.
You can hear me okay? Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
all good.
All right, great. So what would the benefits be of actually having a qualification over being purely self-taught and vice versa, versus development time and investment one needs to make, be it for time and spending or financial aspects? What are the benefits of actually doing it on a course-wise versus actually learning yourself? I say like Jay, Ronak and Ranjit have mentioned about YouTube videos or forum discussions and so on. So what more benefit do you get out of doing it on a course than doing it on self-learning? Or do you need to supplement?
So Pete, I'm a strong fan of Indian mythological stories. And I believe every question has an answer from there.
Right.
And your question reminds me of a very, very popular story in Mahabharata, which is about Eklavya and Arjun. Self-learning and learning under the supervision of a guru. So I think whether it is self-learning, whether it is learning under the supervision of a guru, what is more important is, first of all, we should know what we want to learn. Because many a times, and particularly with my exposure in this training industry, I have seen out of fascination and out of curiosity, people join a program without knowing what they are good for. And then later in the time, most of them actually question to themselves whether I am in for this, whether this is what I wanted. Because overall, when they play a game, when they see a movie, it's a visual thing which pulls them. It's an excitement which makes them get into it. But later in the time, they realize that there is a lot of effort, there is a lot of hard work, a lot of commitment, dedication, which is required. And I think that's what our industry calls in for. It is an industry for people who come with a passion to do something different from the world. They are the guys who haven't seen the dinosaurs, but they create it. They are the ones who have not seen a shark tail, but they're the ones who create it. So I think these are the people who comes with a different sense of mind. And particularly for students, I would say that, don't choose an institute. Choose the trainer. Because what is more important is the trainer who's going to teach you. An institution may have a very good curriculum, a very good content, but it's the trainer who actually delivers it, who actually trains you. So what is more important is, if I am not an IIT pass out, if I have not been able to clear an IIT examination, I cannot prepare you for IIT. Unless I would have failed in IIT for 50 times and I know all the questions. So I think what is more important is to understand what quality your trainer has. And I think it is more important, as a trainer has a right to choose the student. A student should have a right to choose the trainer. And I think if that comes in, trust me, the way the training industry is going in right now and the way it could be tomorrow will make a significant difference. I think keeping yourself updated, and something which is very important is you came as a student, and be a student for lifetime. And if you are a student for lifetime and you continue your learning, trust me, you will never be outdated, whatever technology may come in. So I think that's something which I believe as a student you should look at. And if you do so, I am sure you will have a wonderful career progression. Whether you typically choose a 5,000 rupees institution or a 50 lakh rupees institution, whether you do it in India or abroad, seriously doesn't make much sense unless you have it in you and you are willing to learn. Trainers can be a guiding force. So obviously, institution can be a guiding force, a trainer could be a guiding force. But what is more important is your self-confidence, your self-learning, and your willingness to do something which is exceptionally different from the world. That's what I believe.
I think that's spot on. Dr. Rishi?
Pete, I would like to definitely second the opinion of my panelists. They all said very rightly. But here I would like to share some practical tips with the students trying to consider online versus institute. Guys, you need to ask certain questions with you. One is, what is your discipline track? It depends. It varies from person to person. So you need to ask your discipline track, whether you would alone be able to keep yourself motivated to do all such kind of courses. Do you be able to share the timing which is required to complete all these courses on your own? Number one. Number two is, you can also track your online history. I mean, how many courses you bought and how many you have completed finally. Because in last 15 years of my academic career, I met a lot of students who say, sir, we bought this and that, but we are never able to complete those programs. So this is a second thing. Third is, you also need to think whether this course is just a self-paced course where you are just going through the videos and lessons like that, or you are going to get some peer-to-peer reviews, interaction opportunities and stuff like that, because this is something which happens very extensively in colleges and institutes. So this is a very important point to consider. And next is how you are going to get a critique on your output, on your portfolio. Because if it is a self-paced course, nobody is going to give you any idea on whether you are going in a right track or no. So these things are very important to consider. And as all the panelists said very rightly, that there is always a mentor available for you in any industry you go, and that touch of mentor is very important to transform your learning, to tell you that, look, this is the area where you should develop yourself more. And also what happens is, when you are working under an institution, you get a lot of other advantages, like institutions keep inviting guests, they keep doing a lot of workshops and all. So these are the main advantage of being into an institute. Also, if you see from a studio standpoint, they also prefer a student coming from a 2-year or 3-year disciplined course, rather than just doing a self-paced 2 months, 3 months program and coming for the interviews to the studios. They don't look the technical skill at that time. They don't compare whether a student coming from a self-paced background or a university background, but all they look is that this boy has spent 3 years under a mentorship. So, their discipline degree will vary definitely, and it is going to be more in a person who is coming from that disciplined background. Plus, also a third party validation is there on the degrees, on the certification. Because if it is a self-paced program, you pay the money, you complete the program, you get the certificate. But here the universities or some other authorities are there to validate your skills and to give you the grades A, B, C, D. So this is how it creates another kind of trust level in the studios. Lastly, I would like to tell the students that this is a age of combination. So what I would suggest is, you go under a proper university or a college program, but don't just overlook the potential which is available on online platforms. So hybrid and mix yourself, learn which is not available in the curriculum from internet, and try to come with a nice amalgamation of the entire thing. Thank you.
I think sorry, could you mute yourself? I can hear myself. It's really kind of weird. Lovely, thank you. I think then, to kind of summarize, I think it's a case of, it depends on the individual's passion, how strongly they feel and how self-disciplined they are, whether or not they kind of hit a wall. If they are self-developing, then look to the benefits that obviously a course, be it a degree or a vocational course, will obviously be able to provide, to try and advance them to the next stage. And also, as many have said, check out the teacher, the lecturer, how experienced they are, and whether or not they're going to help advance you, not only for cost of money, but also for your cost of your time, which is obviously, very, very important when one is trying to develop naturally. But obviously, self-discipline and self-progression is obviously going to be very, very important naturally. Okay. Next hypothetical question. You've got yourself into your company. You're trying to get into your company. I've jumped ahead a little bit. You're trying to get into the company of your company of choice, but there's no position available. You want to get into that particular role, but there's no position available. Should you reapply later? Or should you take a less desirable role than what you are trying to get into? Not necessarily a lower position, or even something that's running parallel. Like, for example, if you're a texturing artist, but you have experience in modeling, and modeling is available, maybe even somewhere in another discipline or another area of the company already, say, for example, HR, or as an assistant. so that you can get a foot in the door, or should you try elsewhere? So that question is going to be to Ranjit.
I think first of all, the student should individually feel that he's self-disciplined, and he should understand the importance of the specialization that he is expecting to be in. Uh, he should choose one specialization, because there are multiple streams in VFX industry. Yeah, and once he chooses the kind of specialization, then then the attitude should be all inclusive. So whether this company or that company doesn't matter. Even if it is a boutique studio, he is going to learn a lot by doing many things around him. Uh, just not just, let's say he's a compositor, but he's also going to help the junior or the support staff that is there around him. If it is a big company, he is going to focus on one stream at a time. He's only going to do compositing. Let's say he's a roto artist, he's only going to focus on roto skill. He's a paint artist, he's only going to focus on a paint skill. If he's a animator or an FX artist, he's going to focus on that particular skill. But when he is working in a small studio, he is rather be able to explore other streams as well, to decide whether he's really liking the kind of skill or not. So there is a two-way thinking. What if he or she is not really settled up her his or her decision to which is the best ideal skill that he should pursue his career into, then they should rather choose a small studio wherein they can explore a variety of things,
Right.
and then move on to a bigger studio. And if they have done only a specialized kind of course, so for example, in Prime Focus Academy, I've trained over 1,000 people. 1,000 students are already placed. So the kind of courses that we have in Prime Focus Academy are like specialized courses, only one stream. Yeah, so only compositing, only rotoscopy, only matte painting or painting, like that. So one can choose those courses and also get a job through internship and all of that. So
Okay.
there are ways to look at it. So where you're right now, where you stand right now in the industry, will determine uh, the next step that he or she is going to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So to Jay and to Ronak, I'm going to just change it up a little bit. So you're in the company, you got yourself in there, you joined roughly about the same time as some of your peers. How do you progress faster in the company? How can you actually jump a couple of hurdles, or how can you advance quicker than some of your peers? What do you believe the process is? So that'll be to Jay first.
All right. So I think that's a very valid question, because I have seen a lot of students asking me that question as to, okay, I want to reach this particular stage. I want to be a supervisor. I want to be a VFX supervisor or an FX supervisor. And how much time does it take? It's a very valid question, but a very tricky one as well.
That's why I'm asking it.
Yes. Because as we said, or as almost all the panelists said in the first question, that one of the biggest thing which drives a person in this particular industry is passion. And the best way to do it is not by jumping jobs, not by, getting a higher designation per se, because some company might call you a mid-level artist, you get a senior level artist or a lead. But the idea is to get your skill sets right. Is basically, the more you can prove to your current company that you are a skilled worker, you can work independently, you can follow the notes, you can hit the deadlines, and not only that, you can work as a team. That is one of the biggest thing. You can work as a team, a good team member. So once you have that, I think every company recognizes that, and they will give you an opportunity to grow. I haven't seen any company which will purposely kind of push you down just because, okay, there are there are other people who needs to go up. If you can prove yourself, I think there is no way that you cannot grow up the chain. Definitely, to prove yourself, you have to also do a lot of self-learning, because it's not that you just delivering shots and everyone is happy. You have to prove that, okay, this is where I can go up the notch. This is where I can start. I am, my qualities or my capabilities are a step above the others. So that's where you have to kind of create that gap in order to move up the chain. Now, it varies in different departments as to how you do that. Like some of the technical departments like FX or lighting, a lot of people start getting into scripting and learning how to code, which gives them an edge, because that way they can show that they are not only good aesthetically, but even on the technical side, they are like really strong.
Now, just to interrupt that, so are they going to be pushed into that, or are they going to take that upon themselves and to self-develop that thing?
I think the sooner you take upon yourself it's better, because that way you're not being forced to do something. You are doing it out of your own free will, and actually in a step like that, or when you make a decision like that, you actually happen to learn a lot more faster than someone forcing you to learn something. So I think time frame wise, I cannot really tell how long does it take to kind of reach a certain level, because it just varies. But I think till the time you prove your skill set, you will move up the chain, I would say.
Okay. Ronak, to you?
Yeah. So I definitely agree with Jay what he just said, and a couple of pointers which I would put across is that to progress in a particular company, I mean, I would not really want to comment on like how to progress better than your peers or how to perform better than your peers. I would say you should perform your best, and that is what is going to take you up the ladder, and not really bother about the rest. You should always concentrate on working on the as a team, because regardless of the guys who are along with you are better than you or not as good as you still have to grow as a team. So as far as the current scenario goes, all the departments are the entire process is broken down into departments. The departments are internally broken down into teams, so all the performances are actually collective. So if you put yourself in a situation and be available, I would say be available to perform your best, giving your best to your team, and things go automatically, those things go across to your lead as a positive for you, which allows you to create those opportunities, and that eventually will allow you to grow individually as well, because the network has spread across so much on a VFX team front, or rather pipeline, that earlier when we used to, I mean, you were just saying that individually one person working on other departments and churning out one shot. So back in like 2001 or 1980s, 1990s that you were talking about, I'm talking about early 2000s, when individually one person was doing everything and delivering a shot. But that is no more possible. So if we are not in that environment, then everything is expected out of a team. And if you work and be available as a team member to put in as much as efforts as you can to deliver a certain task that is given to you, because right now we're talking about the fresh talent, we're not talking about the mid-level or a senior level artists. So at the fresher level, I would say contributing as a team and be available for whatever tasks are assigned to you or whatever is asked out of you. You giving your best is the best approach, I would say, and not defining or holding back to your timings. Okay, I will not do this on this day, or I will not complete this at this moment, or I am, it's just being reluctant is a hurdle. I'm not talking about the timings. I'm just talking about being available and giving in as much as you can as a fresher, so it will allow and open all the doors for you to move ahead, and then things will automatically progress for you.
So to summarize, basically be a team player, self progress. Don't just come for salary. So basically, you've got to try and develop yourself internally, and also work together and be available as an integral member of the team, because you are part of that machine, so to speak, that is there to produce that awesome piece of work. So you are an integral part of that. As long as you see yourself that you are an integral part of that, you'll feel the self-worth, and also hopefully also feel the need to self-develop and work with others. That's kind of like how I envision it. Okay, so to Mohit and to Dr. Rishi, next one. Bit of a controversial sort of thing in this sort of kind of panel that we've got going on here. So, is shifting jobs more of a natural way to progress, or is it possible to advance easier within the same company? Do you get more opportunities if you if you shift jobs to another location, another company, and then shift back? Or do you feel that within the same company itself, would be more opportunities if one stayed there for a longer period of time, like, 5, 6, 7 years, as opposed to a couple of years here, a couple of years here, and so on and so on? So what do you think would be the better option? Is there one?
Pete, you put me in a problem. I belongs to the academics. I have never been into the production, but whatever I could answer, I'll try to give the answer. But before that, let me clear two things about the previous two questions. One is the progression or the success, how you can make your success faster than your peers. I would say, the entire role goes to the soft skills. I have seen many students, and I've been talking to the HRs of a lot of companies. They say, sir, artist heart and mind is very fragile. So the moment they, hear something from us, they feel that, it is now, there is no point in coming to the company anymore. So this is something which I would like to, stress upon to all these students, that this is your game plan. So don't just, be too emotional in your, corporate life or in your company's journey. Always try to understand from a senior's point of view that why they are giving pressure or, stress on completing the project on a particular timeline. What is the overall game of timeline? If you understand into media and animation, I am very much sure that the progress and success chances would be more than your peers. Then your behavioral skill, communication skills, and all this matters a lot. Now coming to your question about progressing in the same company or trying to switch. Now this is totally depend on what kind of opportunities you are getting within your own company. I would prefer, like, I have been into one educational institute for almost 10 years. So ultimately, if you are getting a progress, if you are getting a chance to progress and to prove yourself and getting new challenges, new opportunities, be there. For you for next 10 years, if you are a fresher, for next 10 years, always seek more opportunities of learning than earning. This is my funda. So if you are not getting enough opportunities in the same company for learning, be it you may be getting promotions and salary perks every year, increments and all this thing, but if you are not getting learning opportunities, I would rather prefer to advise you to switch from this company to a company where you are getting something to learn. So this is very important. And after 10 years, the whole games take a different shift. So there, after 10 years, when you have learned many things, and it is now the 20% role of new things learning and 80% of your success, your salary, then you can take another game plan of looking for the companies where your package is high, comfort is high, and perks are high. Thank you.
Okay. Mohit, to you.
So, Pete, after listening to Dr. Rishi, the first slogan which comes in my mind is a very popular slogan which we have been seeing in the industry, in the education industry, called as earn while you learn. So I think this slogan just doesn't end with a training institution.
Yeah, true.
It continues with every job, every opportunity we get. So I think only thing on earth which pays while you're learning is job. And if you continue learning, the job not just starts paying you higher, but also starts giving you opportunities to grow. So I think that's something which we have to all believe in, because the place where we are earning our bread from is the place where we are committed to. And I think if we together put all our efforts, there is no reason why that company would fail. No reason. And I believe very strongly that if you have an appetite to grow, your appetite is really good, you know. But at the same point of time, to feed in, you need to take new responsibilities. So when you want to take up the role of your team leader, please go back and realize as a team leader what responsibilities he carries, both to save your job and to save his job.
Yeah.
And I think if you realize that, if you understand the responsibility metrics, and if you understand the way it has to be communicated, which Dr. Rishi also pointed in a very right way, uh, dream to be an entrepreneur. You know, the moment you dream to be an entrepreneur, your job starts giving you more of exposure. And whatever the mistakes you are doing in your job, you may not repeat it in your career. So I think this is a wonderful platform for everybody, every student, every employee, and everyone to realize that we are all there earning our daily bread from an organization for which we are committed and dedicated. Yeah. And there is no reason why that organization would not support us, would not back us, and would not provide us opportunities if we are committing our 100% and dedicated to bring some new innovative concepts. If something is failing, something else will work. So I think as a creative guy, it's not always necessary that what is given to you, you do that. As a creative guy, you need to think out of the box, out of the blue, and come out with ideas which can make the organization really grow and give you back your contribution towards it. So that's my belief. I don't know to how much percentage it holds good, but I have seen it with my career. I have grown from starting as first employee of the company in many cases, as a startup person who has always been curious to set up startups in the country. Being the first employee, I have always worked on the post of not just as an executive, but also left the organizations on the post of MDs and CEOs. So I think if we retain ourselves, if we commit ourselves, there is opportunity to grow, and somebody should really take it.
I would agree. I mean, I looking back on one of my first like full-time job in this particular, in the media industry as such. I started out in education back in the mid-90s. I think I learned more in the first 1 to 2 weeks as on an exponential growth than I have ever done in my entire career. No matter whatever course I've taken or whatever book I've read or anything like that, for that first 1 to 2 weeks of actually being within this particular company and working literally side by side with two other artists, I've just absorbed everything that they were doing, and it all kind of stuck. So I believe that definitely working on the job and learning on the job is, yeah, I'm definitely all for it. Excuse me. So we're about 10 minutes before we have to wrap. So there's a couple of questions that are in the Q&A. But before I ask those, I just ask one quick last round table of this is mostly towards Ronak and Jay, and also feed towards Ranjit as well. If you were restarting out in this industry, if today was a blank slate, you had to go back to the beginning of your career, what would you do differently? Would you do anything differently? Like learn this, don't learn this, and whatever. I see also in the comments that Jay's also rightly mentioned as an answer to a question, which was what software to use. And he's totally right. Every single studio has its own individual pipeline. So learn the techniques. Don't worry about the software; it will come. Don't bust your head about that kind of thing. So aside from something like that, like I wish I'd learned this software, and this software instead of that one, because it would have progressed me to a certain standard. There's something like character animation. I never got into it. I always thought there was time. Never got into it. I am literally the worst character animator on the planet. I'm terrible at it. I can't rig for toffee. I can't skin either. I can direct it, but I can't do it. You put it in front of me, I'm like, So looking back, that's something that I wish I'd actually tackled better and tackled more and gone into. So how about yourselves? Would you approach anything differently?
I can go first.
Yeah, Jay. Sorry, Jay, you go first, mate.
All right. So, Pete, as you rightly said, I mean, there are times when you think that, okay, you could have done something different. But I would say at the end of the day, if you're happy of what your progress is, because this industry or the amount of knowledge which you need to have in order to finish one particular shot it's so vast that you can never be able to kind of master all of it. You definitely, as you rightly said, like I've never been an animator. I've never animated a character since like just recently when I was doing the fellowship with Unreal, and I had to do some character animation. Like I have done it for the very first time. So, but I have supervised a lot of shows where I have given like really nitpicky comments on character animation, but I cannot do that myself. So I would say, if I have to restart my career, I think I had a pretty good time, how my career has progressed. And, I'm pretty much happy with that. Definitely, there was a phase where I got a little bit complacent and, I kind of was happy with where I am and kind of stopped my learning curve. But then very soon I realized that, okay, this is not going to help me anymore. So I think that is the phase which possibly where I can, I might have continued learning at that particular point is something that I would change. But in terms of my career path and career growth, I don't think I like if you have to ask me, no, I think I'm pretty much happy with that, honestly.
All right, Ronak.
Yeah, that's a very tricky question to look back. What should I have done different? So I would just say I would.
Dude.
Is it breaking?
It's breaking. Yeah, just give it. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. So what I did was, as I said, I did two courses from two different institutions when I started off. So I invested 3 years in a particular institution. I invested 1 more year for the post graduation in another college before I started off. And then there was a point that no one had any clue as to where would one go and if one wants to do VFX. So from that stage, I got into a studio, and where it was a very small seven member team setup, and we were doing all VFX for commercials, Eagle 3D as mentioned. So I think as a 7-member team and individually, we were helping each other out in whatever means possible, and we were delivering every kind of 3D setups, composites, or whatever was coming our way. And the way we learned it in a year's time was so incredible that I cannot even think of any other way that I would have learned so much from my team members and from my mentors, Harry and Ketan, who are the Chief Creative Officer and the CEO of our Riches VFX now. So I think nothing could have gone otherwise. I mean, I am in the best place, and I really enjoyed the journey of my career. And I would have just said anything different, but the only thing is the people whom I'm working with, I have been working with the day I was introduced to the industry. So I think I don't really have any complaints on that part. I think I would go the way I would just learn the way it has been, because now if you just tweak the question as to how would start off now, then it's a very difficult question to answer. Because
that's why I'm asking it.
Oh my God. Right now it's gonna be so difficult because I have to concentrate on what particular department. Okay, should I start with rotoscoping? Should I start with modeling? That is just a block here, because like we've been doing everything, including modeling, texturing, lighting, compositing, rotoscoping, tracking, everything individually, which is not possible. I mean, that is only possible if I join a boutique studio. So today, I think Ranjit mentioned in the very first questions that if I can join in a boutique studio which has a very small team, but they have challenging projects, I would still go and start off in that particular studio to get an exposure.
I would also the same, because
and then
that gives me a larger exposure. Yeah.
Yes, in 2 years, 3 years time, I would really learn a lot of things rather than again focusing on another question that okay, this is a dream studio where I want to start off with, and should I start here or no? And if I don't get it, what to do? I think start up with a smaller studio, learn more, be prepared. In 3 years time, you are ready to go, and then join your dream studio. They will take you. Why not? If you are you have so much of exposure, and by 3 years of experience, you have developed your talent enough to take up more challenging tasks, then why wouldn't they hire you? They will definitely hire you with your rate. Yeah, I think.
So you raised an interesting point about the show reels. I mean, I've noticed a couple of questions that have actually come up in the Q&A about whether or not, and Jay's again rightly answered those with regards to things like certification is being a prerequisite requirement for if you want to learn, if you want to work overseas. So if you want to get a job in the US, for example, like that, they look for qualifications, be it in whatever. It doesn't matter. I have a degree. I have a degree, but it's in engineering IT. I have no degree in qualification whatsoever apart from school in what I do. Nothing.
Yeah, it's same for me. I have a degree in engineering, and it is nowhere connected to visual effects. So, but they still require something on paper.
Yeah, exactly.
If you have to go abroad.
Dr. Rishi is flagging. Yeah.
Pete, see, again, there are two things to look at. One is if you are willing to go for an entry-level job with a studio where the skills are much needed, then the degree, it is okay. But in most of the companies where, they have the foreign process also and Indian process, they prefer degree because if they want to send their boys there for learning advanced things, they have to have a degree. Plus, I've seen the students who are looking for a post-graduation or going to the specialization in US, UK, Canada, they're having a bachelor degree in media and animation help you out to get a lot of scholarship there and to save a lot of money. So from that point of view, also having a degree is really important nowadays. And earlier, what used to happen is, in India, if you see, animation education started way back in 1990s. And from there to a very long period, there were only private programs. But now since the UGC, the government of India, Telangana government and other governments have taken good initiative to spread it as a curriculum, as a proper study, I think the students should take the advantage. I mean, this was not there when I was actually trying to get into animation. So I had to complete 2 degrees, the master's into information technology and the animation and media. But now since these, options and combinations are available, the student must take the advantage of it.
Right. So one question which has come up asked by Avinash, which is, does a student need to have a graduation to get a job in studios, even if he is talented and has a good show reel? Do studios prefer students with a graduate certificate? From someone who basically vets applicants, I personally, again, this is my personal opinion, is that the qualification is a means to an end. The means to an end, the end is the show reel. I'm not bothered about your journey as long as that show reel is awesome, because that's going to show exactly how good you are. I have a degree certificate that says that I passed an engineering IT degree in 1997. I can't remember any of it. So if I went for an engineering degree now, an engineering job now and said, hey, look, I've got a degree in this, put me in the role, they put me in front of something and I would not know a damn thing about what to do because it was so long ago. And I genuinely don't know anything about it anymore, to be frank. So that assessment, that degree assessment, is basically at that particular point in time. You've been assessed at that particular point in time to that particular level. You have, chances are you've advanced to then. The main important thing for me, and I think I speak for everybody else here as well, is that your qualification is great provided you continue on that bell curve of learning. If you continue to develop and you continue to learn and study, not only in your own free time, but also on the job as well, you absorb the information, you absorb the knowledge, you put it to use, you practice, you fail, you practice, you fail. And it's all about like learning to ride a bike. Failure is perfectly fine as long as you don't do it more than once. Because otherwise, if you've fallen off the bike more than one time, you need to practice a bit more before getting back on. So, I think we're all about out of time, guys. Is there anything else anybody would like to close off on? So I'll just do a quick round table. Ronak, is there anything you'd like to quickly just summarize?
Nothing. I think we first it was pretty well, and I would just want to pass across a message to the students that yes, first take your time, decide whether you want to venture into this field altogether. Are you ready for it? Are you game for it? Is your passion gonna drive you for next 20 years, not 3 years? Then it's better, because there is a possibility, because visual effects itself is a field which is very specialized. Okay, it's not like I mean, I would not want to compare it with other fields, but if suppose it example for example, if you are into accountancy or any other field, or HR, there if it doesn't work for you for 3 years, you have 10,000 options open for you to do something else. But here you need to be dedicated in what you're doing, whichever department it is. But if you want to progress here, you make sure that you have that in you, that you should strive to be in this industry, come what may. If you're here just for the glamour, please just shed yourself all of those notions that you are going to have a big time partying every night or every weekend. That is the reason here. No, it is not for them. Okay, so it's like someone has rightly told me that this is not for you. Like, don't really get into this. Dream on. That was the word they used when I was studying. A visiting faculty told me, like, dream on if you want a life with pleasure. Dream on if you want a 9 to 6 and you want to go back home at 7. Dream on. You have to put in a lot of effort.
There is a 9 till 6, but it's 6 a.m.
See, there you go. I told you, I don't want to get into the timings at all.
I know.
So yeah. So be careful in what you choose, but it's an amazing industry. But just shed the grammar off your heads and then please join in it. You will love to be here for sure.
Ranjit, to you, final words.
Right. So the life is all about learning. Yesterday I was learning how to handle this panel, right? Yeah, so life is all about learning. There are 2 shlokas or mantras in Shiva Sutras, one of the ancient script. One says, Ichha Shakti Uma Kumari. That means the desire should be like a girl who wants to get married soon. It should be always like that. And then there is another sutra that says, Udyamo Bhairava. Yeah, Udyamo Bhairava means actions leads to success always. Yeah, so your actions are very important. So one should be being all inclusive and meditate upon oneself and understand what he really wants to do in life. And by progressing each day, every day is learning. So learning is inevitable, indispensable from life. Yeah. So how to go about learning is and how to choose whether it is a degree program or online program or any small course that you want to choose. You need to look at what's in it for me. What's in it for me. So whichever institute you are choosing, whether they have the right standard of education organized all well with all sort of equipments, their teachers are experienced in the production environment. Their systems are capable of handling high rendering processes. They do have the kind of technology that is required. So, for example, motion capture. We have very less resources in India to learn motion capture.
Yeah.
So similarly, in every type of technology that we are going to learn, whether the institution is capable of handling the learning part of it, whether the learning is really going to happen in that space. Yeah. So I've been I've hired hundreds of people for Prime Focus Generator and other companies, Reliance MediaWorks, and I have also placed around 1,000 students from Prime Focus Academy. We have short-term courses in Prime Focus Academy as well, which are completely focused on sort of specialized courses and industry standard outcome. That is what we expect from the student. So similarly, every institution, I respect all of you, and every institution is working towards that one goal, that the learning should happen. So at one side, students should focus on what to choose. They should pre-plan everything, and at the same time, institute should also invest for the kind of education that they are really want to pursue. They want to really impart knowledge through. Yeah. So both the sides are important. Yeah.
Great. Jay, final word from you, my friend.
Sure. I think by the time we kind of go around, most of the points are covered. But and these are all valid points. So I'm just going to keep it short and sweet, because a lot of these things that we've discussed is so as a student, try to capture as much knowledge rather than just understanding or working on a software. You will always be able to ask someone where to click that button to get that particular task going. But in order to understand what exactly that does, that is the most important thing. So try to learn the basics, try to learn the techniques rather than learning the software. Once you are on the floor, be with a company that actually gives you the opportunity to grow. If you feel that your growth is hampered or it's at a standstill, that's the time you should think that you should move on.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid that, okay, I was in a company A who is working on Hollywood features, company B is working on local content or whatever. It's more about your growth. Now the platforms are changing, the requirements from the audience is changing, and honestly, in few years, the entire visual effects industry is going to change. Like a lot of you guys might be hearing about virtual production, and Pete, you were involved in one of the talks yesterday, I guess, about virtual production. So
not the recent one, but there was one previously.
But then virtual production is going to change our industry.
Yeah.
It's going to bring a massive turnaround in our industry. So everyone has to keep learning, as Ranjit said. Learning cannot stop. Be it any industry, for example. Yeah. Learning cannot stop, because that will make you complacent and it will kind of pause your growth.
Okay.
So if you want
I think also we can kind of what you mentioned there is true with regards to particular software, etc. It can be attributed to like learning how to be an artist. So
right.
I can teach anybody to be an artist in like 5 seconds. Very easy. Totally easy. Right. Canvas, easel, paint, brush. Put brush onto paint, mix it, put on canvas. Artist.
An artist, yes. But a good artist?
No, that's the thing.
Experience.
Exactly that. So what the information you're going to learn is basically just about features. Features you can basically take from any piece of software. It's how you apply it.
Right.
That's the key thing. Dr. Rishi, final thoughts, please.
So, Pete, while all my great friends have been talking greatly about what's in for you when you are in, let me put it another way. When are you out? So this reminds me of a very short story. I asked one of my friends from Canada who worked on a lot of international projects as a modeler. So my silly question was, when do you think you will retire? So he said, the day I could not hold the mouse in my hand, but from that day, again, I'll continue to learn, and then I will continue to train. Yeah. So I think that's the way this industry is. And I believe if you are in, it's a one-way traffic. And trust me, anybody who has been in and been there would not go out. So I think that's one thing which students should have, a passion and a commitment and dedication. Again, I'm repeating those 3 words because I believe that makes a lot of difference for you when you are in this industry.
That's actually really so that I got out, but then they pulled me back in. There's a line in a film. I can't remember the film. It's like Goodfellas or something like that. Dr. Rishi, final thoughts, please.
So all the gurus said a lot of things. I would just like to conclude it in 2 things. Students, those who are watching us, please remember these 2 words. These 2 words are for you. One is fail. What is failure? What is fail? Fail is nothing but first attempt in learning. FAIL. So make this attempt.
I'm writing that down. Seriously, I'm writing that down. That is awesome. First attempt in learning. That's awesome. Sorry, carry on.
So don't hesitate to fail. And the second thing, we all are. This is a fact that you are going into any industry with a lot of dreams of earning something. And as Ronak said that before earning, you have to have a mind of learning. But you see, there is a game into this. Learning is what? LEARNING. Just remove L. What remains is earning. So don't run behind earning.
I'm trying to write all this down. Hang on a minute.
Run behind learning first. I am an academician, Pat, please. So I play with the words. So learning is very important for you. And if you follow learning, automatically the earning will come. So follow Saraswati, Lakshmi will run behind you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Got it, I think. That's awesome. Seriously, that's a brilliant acronym. The best one I learned was something to do with trigonometry from my old maths teacher. Silly old hedgehogs cause accidents having tried odd aerobics. So katoa. That's the only one I remember, and that's the reason why I didn't go into do A-level maths. Thank you very much, everybody. Awesome panel. Thank you very much, everybody. And those everybody who's asked questions, I hope we've managed to clear as many as we could in the time that we've got. I think we were at 10 minutes over, so apologies for those who've not managed to answer any questions. Thanks a lot. I dare say that
thanks for having us here.
Got our contact information so that anybody needs to ask questions directly, they can. We'll try and get back in touch with people as best we can, guys. Thanks a lot.
All right. Thank you,
guys. Thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.